Humans are pretty smart. Apart from our special skill for wiping out large parts of our own population and several other species, we've achieved some remarkable things. But there's a lot, like a lot, of stuff that we still don't know. Some of it is surprisingly simple. The answer must be staring us in the face, and yet we just haven't worked it out yet. So here's our top 5 list of stuff we should know, but we don't. Most scientists say that we need around 8 hours of sleep a night, although actually a better answer is 7.5 hours because we sleep in 90-minute cycles. But no one knows why. We know that if you don't get sleep, you get groggy, logic and communication skills break down, and you become agitated. Just 17 hours of being awake has the same effect on the brain as 2 glasses of wine. We know that eventually, if you don't sleep, you'll go crazy and probably die. But again, why? The best answer is a total guess, and it's that sleep gives our brain a chance to learn all of the things it's picked up over the day. Sort of like unpacking your shopping and sorting it into bits that need to go into the freezer, bits that can go into cupboards, blah blah blah. The brain is constantly learning and creating new pathways for information to flow down, so there's a good chance it gets pretty full over the course of the day. Sleep lets it sort out what's necessary and what can be trashed. It's also been observed in rats that the brain activity overnight exactly matches that observed in any challenges they did over the day, almost as if they're reliving and relearning important events. Which is interesting, right? But why? And why do you go mad and dead if you don't sleep? Frankly, nobody has a clue. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. Well, as far as we know, he just might. Rich Europeans in pith hats going on adventures and then satellites taking photos mean that we know pretty much what's on land. OK, a few forest tribes, a lot of species and possibly the Yeti remain to be discovered, but we've got a pretty good map of the world above water going on. Underwater though? Not a clue. We've only explored 5% of the oceans. As far as we know, the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean is the deepest point on Earth, stretching down around 11 kilometres. Just 3 people have been there, significantly fewer than have been on the Moon. And that's sort of the problem. See, if you think getting into space is tricky, try getting down to the bottom of the ocean. The pressure is immense, over 1,000 times what it is on the surface. It would turn a human diver into a squishy pulp. Which is partly why we have no idea what lies in most of the ocean. There's a pretty good chance the Mariana Trench isn't the deepest point. We don't know what is though, because scanning and mapping that far down is really difficult, and finding out what's actually going on at the bottom is damn near impossible. Amazingly, when we did visit the trench, we found that life survived despite the pressure and lack of sunlight, so there could be all kinds of stuff living elsewhere. For all we know, the largest organism in the world could be growing across huge parts of the bottom of the ocean. But we don't. Certain animals have a tickle response, or some kind of pleasure response. Think about a cat purring when it's relaxed. But no one really understands, incredibly, why humans laugh. We can't even consciously laugh. We can mimic it, ha ha ha, but there's something sort of lacking. It takes a lot of practice to convincingly make ourselves laugh, and yet we can all do it naturally from birth. It's contagious as well. If one person starts laughing, other people follow suit. Amazingly, according to research, it actually rarely has anything to do with saying something funny, and yet our brain makes us laugh without us asking it to, contracting numerous muscle groups so tightly it can be painful. Laughing is usually positive and playful. We laugh with someone, but it can be negative and aggressive, laughing at someone. Why do we do it? No one knows. No, seriously, we have absolutely no idea. Various theories of how bikes are kept stable through the pedalling process, or even how we ride them, have appeared over the years, but they've all been proven wrong. Most people say it's a gyroscopic effect that keeps the wheels stable, but that was proven to be inaccurate all the way back when we were riding around on choppers in the 1970s. Then there was a theory that it's something called the caster effect, very basically that the front wheel provides the balance and the rest of the bike sort of follows along. No, both theories work, but only at certain different speeds. In fact, here's a weird bike from Delft University that's specifically designed to use neither theory, and it still works and stays stable, seemingly defying the laws of physics. Here's what the Delft bike discovered. To be stable, the bike has to be unstable. Specifically, the steering has to be unstable and the first thing to topple when a bike falls over. What they couldn't really say is why that is, and so for the moment, how a bicycle works remains a mystery, which is pretty remarkable. But not as remarkable as this. How many planets are there? 8? Maybe 9 if you're in your late 20s and still include Pluto? Well, actually, no. Once again, no one knows. If we look at things that are big enough to be round and orbit the Sun, we actually know of 17. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Ceres, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Haumea, Makemake and Eris, and 2007 OR, Quo, Sedna and Orcus, though we really don't know much about them. And there's almost certainly even more, because further in the Mercury it's too bright to see the silhouette of any planets against the Sun, and beyond Pluto even the best telescopes really struggle to pick up something very dark against the night sky that probably only passes the same point in its orbit once every few years. So how have we managed to map the very edge of the universe, but not the edge of our own solar system? Well, imagine standing on top of a mountain on a dark night, looking down at a city below. You can map out the roads and all that pretty well by the streetlights. Now, without a torch, try and map out everything within, say, 10 meters. You can't, because it's dark. You might have some clues, like hearing something rustling, but you won't know exactly what or where it is. For example, it's likely there's a planet somewhere beyond Pluto, nearly the size of Earth, that we've so far managed to miss. How do we know? Because there's a massive hole in the asteroid belt there. Something's gobbling up all those space rocks, but we've no idea what it is because we can't see it. Some scientists have even theorized that we have a planet 4 times the size of Jupiter called Tyche orbiting far out in the Oort cloud, the belt of ancient comets sitting around a light year from the Sun. They theorize that the gravity of this giant planet is what throws comets towards the inner solar system. Sound mad? Well, many astronomers are pretty sure it's on the verge of being confirmed. We missed something that big. But it gets even stranger, because some astronomers have suggested that Tyche is so big it might even be a second sun, a brown dwarf nicknamed Nemesis, possibly even with its own orbiting planets. The whole second sun thing is widely doubted, but it can't actually be disproved, which frankly is bloody mental. So there we have it, humanity, an incredible species with some incredible gaps in our knowledge. Which is kind of cool, really, because wouldn't it be boring if we did actually know it all?